So hi all, welcome to another video lecture. In this video lecture we will see this problem by LeetCode, that is a hard category problem. This is find invalid IP addresses. So in this particular problem we have a logs table in which the log underscore ID is the unique key for this table, and each row contains server access log information including the IP address and the HTTP status code. So we need to write a solution to find the invalid IP addresses. An IPv4 address is invalid if it meets any of these conditions, contains number greater than 255 in any octet. So each and every one of this block, right, is an octet, and if any one of this number is greater than 255, right, then it will be invalid. It has leading zeros in any octet like 01, 02, so it should not start with 0 in any of these octet, and has less or more than 4 octets. So there has to be just 4 octets. If it is less than 4, that is if there are 3 or 5 octets or greater than 4 octets, right, it will be an invalid IP address, right? And we need to return the result table ordered by the invalid underscore count and the IP address in descending order respectively. So here we have this particular logs table, right? And if you look at the IP addresses, right, look at the second IP address. Here it is 256, so it's invalid, right? Here also there we have 256, so it's invalid. If you look at number 5, the octet values, they're less than 255, but the number of octets, they are only 3, they are less than 4, so this is also invalid. So all these conditions have to be simultaneously satisfied, so it's an AND condition. Okay, and if you look at number 3, all the values, they are less than 255 and they have 4 octets, but if you look at the third octet over here, right, it is starting with 0, so it has a leading 0 over here, right? So this is also an invalid IP address. And what we need to do, we need to go ahead and group these IP addresses together, and we need to find out the count, and we need to provide this output. So how are we going to go ahead and proceed? Okay, what is going to be our thought process in this particular case, right? So here, if you just go ahead and look at it, right, let's just move one at a time, and let's just see that how we can get all these pointers satisfied. Okay, what needs to be done? So let us look at the third one for the moment, right, which has less or more than 4 octets, correct? So in this particular case, right, what we need to understand is, if we have 4 octets, let's say, if we have 4 octets, then these two conditions will come into picture, right? Contains number greater than 255 in any octet and has leading zeros in any octet or not. If we have less than or more than 4 octets, then we need not even look at these conditions, right? So one thing we have understood, that this is going to be our first condition over here, that has less or more than 4 octets or not, right? So if you look at number 5 and if you look at number 6, right, number 5, if we look at, right, then it has only 3 octets, correct? So we need not even go ahead and look at whether it is less than 255 or whether it starts with 0 or not, correct? So how we are going to go ahead and check if it has 3 octets or if it has 4 octets or not, rather, how we are going to check? So for 4 octets, if you look at the number of dots, right, we have 3. So if we calculate the number of dots, how many dots are there in this particular string of IP address, then we will go ahead and we will get this, right? We will get the number of octets, right? So for 4 octets, the number of dots should be 3. Now the question is how we are going to calculate these dots, how we are going to calculate the occurrence of these dots, right? So let's just think about this. Okay, if we go ahead and calculate the entire string of IP address, if we calculate the length of this entire IP address, right, let's consider that length as 1, correct? And if we replace these dots with null value, correct? If we replace these dots with null value, and then if we go ahead and calculate the length of the string, then what we will get? We will get the length of the string without the dots, correct? So let's say there are n number of dots, and the size of each and every dot will be, let's say, x characters. Okay, I'm talking in general. Okay, this dot can be any other character. So for the moment, let's consider the dot as any other character. So let us say that the dot has x length. Okay, and there are n number of dots, and if we remove all the dots, then the length of the string will become 1 minus nx, correct? So if now I subtract the original length of the string with this particular length of the string which do not have the dots, so if I do 1 minus nx, then I will definitely go ahead and get nx, correct? I will go ahead and get nx, and if I then divide that nx with the length of that character, that is dot here, individual dot, right, that is by x, then I will definitely go ahead and get n, right? And n is going to be the count or the occurrence of dots, right? So this is the very formula, this is the very concept that we are going to apply. And how we are going to go ahead and get the length of the string, right, length of this IP address, by using the length operator, correct? So let us go ahead and let us write that expression, right? So we will say select log underscore id, we will need, right? We will also need the IP address, and here I will say, right, here I will say if, and within this if condition I will say length, the length of the IP address, that is my entire string, and the length of now we need to go ahead and remove the dots with null, so we will use the replace operator. Replacing inside the IP address, we will replace the dot with null value, right, that is with an empty string, and then we are going to calculate the length. So this is this, and what we are going to do, let me place this entirely into a bracket, and then we are going to divide it by the length of the single character, that is dot. Okay, once we are going to go ahead and we are going to do this, right, what we will go ahead and see, we will just use round, we will round this with 0 and equals to 3. Okay, so this is going to go ahead and it is going to give us the length, that is the number of occurrence, right, number of occurrence of this particular string, right? So now what we are going to do, if this is the case that has been satisfied, right, then now I will say that case when, if this is true, then we are going to go ahead and execute these two section of code, right? So here is going to be the code when the condition is true. Okay, else over here this will be the false case, so I will say 1. Okay, 1 is going to be the condition, the value when it is in invalid. So obviously if it is equal to 3, then only it will be valid. If it is not 3, if it is nothing but 3, right, then it will be invalid always. Okay, so for invalid cases we are going to go ahead and pass it as 1. Okay, so when the condition is true, in that particular case we are then going to apply the case statement. So case when. Okay, now in the when, I will just place the when here. When, now within the when, right, what we are going to do, we need to go ahead and check if this IP address is a valid IP address or not, right? And for that we need to first and foremost ensure that every value in this particular IP address is always going to be a digit. Okay, and it's not going to be any kind of character, correct? And it has to be in this particular order itself, right? So in that particular case, what we need to do, we will say IP, okay, and we will say regex, and here we are going to pass our regular expression over here. Okay, now what is going to be our regular expression in this particular case? So let us go to regex101.com. okay, let us just copy this IP address over here, and let us copy this IP address over here. Okay, so first and foremost we need to make sure that this is actually a valid IP address or not, and then we are going to say abc.3.23.32, let's say. Now I need to go ahead and provide my regular expression so that only these two values get picked up, the top two, and this one does not get picked up because this have characters in it, right? So for us to go ahead and provide our regular expression, what we are going to do, it needs to it needs to start, right? It needs to start with a digit. So I will give this symbol over here, then 0 to 9, right? And then I'm going to open this curly braces, which will indicate how many times I want this particular value, right? So I need it's at least one time and max to max 3 times. Okay, so here it is giving me 192 full, right? Then I will open this parenthesis over here, which will indicate grouping. After that, dot will come because dot is a special character, so I need to escape it using backslash. And then after dot, again I need to pass this 0 to 9, and this again can occur either one time or max to max 3 times, not more than that, right? So one character max to max or 3 characters max to max. Okay, and after that I will go ahead and close this. And how many times this can occur? This can occur max to max 3 times, and then I will finish it off. Okay, so I'm getting this particular expression value. Okay, after this I will go ahead, copy this, and I will paste it here. Okay, so when this is this, right, then it's going to be 0, right, else 1 and end, correct? And here I'm going to start off with case over here. Okay, and let us also just say that if there is 0 1, right, it will also get picked up over here. See, so leading zeros, it will pick it up, correct? So in that particular case, now what we are going to do, that we need to use certain AND operations over here, correct? So let me just remove this one for the moment, and let us say and over here I will be checking if there are leading zeros or not, right? So for that I will be using the substring method, substr, right? And within the substring method, right, I'm going to use the substring index method. Okay, so what the substring index will do, it will go ahead and it will try to split it on the basis of this particular delimiter. For us, this delimiter is going to be dot. So I will say IP. Within this IP, I need to go ahead and pass in my delimiter, and what is going to be my occurrence. So let's say it has gone ahead and splitted it, right? Now the first occurrence will be this dot, the second occurrence of my dot will be this. So for the moment I want only the first occurrence here. So if I want the first occurrence, I will just pass in 1. So it will go ahead and provide me 192 value, right? And I just want to check if this particular substring, right, at the starting index, right, this is going to be my first position, that is, this is my first position. Okay, and the length is going to be only 1 character, so this is 1, right? So what it is saying, 192 it is getting from here, this substring index value, right, and comma 1 when I'm doing. So 1 is going to be my position, the starting position. So from which position you are starting? So I'm starting from this position, and from here how many characters do you want? So I only want 1 character, so I will only get 1. So now I'm going to check if this is not equal to, 0. Okay, if this is not equal to this character, that is 0, right, then what I'm going to do, then definitely I'm going to go ahead and say that it is a valid IP address, correct? But obviously there are other conditions also, because we need to check not only just for this character but also for this character as well. And for that, what we will do, we will go ahead and we will again provide substring, and here we are going to provide, we will copy this, paste it over here, right? Now this time if I go ahead and if I pass 2 over here, right, it will go ahead and it will give me 192.168 okay value, because this is my second occurrence of the dot, right? This is second occurrence of the dot, but I need only 168. So in that particular case, I will go ahead and I will use one more substring underscore index. Okay, this time with 192.168 dot, I will over here, I will go ahead, I will again pass this delimiter over here, and this time I will place -1. -1 will indicate that that is the last value of the string. Okay, so the last value will obviously is going to be my second value, the second octet value, that is 168, right? And after that, the same 1,1 for the substring. So I only need this first character. If that is also again not equal to 0, right, then it's going to be a valid IP address, correct? After that, this is the character 0. Okay, after that I will say again and I will copy this and I will paste it here, and I will paste it here, and this is going to be third, this is going to be fourth. Okay, so this is going to be my third octet, this is going to be my fourth octet, and if it again I'm checking if it is starting with 0 or not. If it is not starting with 0 and condition all, that means it's a valid IP address. So with this and this entirely, it's a valid IP address, correct? If it is valid, right, if it is valid, then what I'm going to do, then I will say it 0 else 1, and then I will end it, correct? And then I will say as rn, I will alias this as rn. Okay, and then I will say I also need the status code, and okay, only the status code, and then from the logs, correct? Now if I go ahead and if I run this, wherever I will get invalid IP address, if you can just see, this is a valid IP address, so I will get 0. This is okay, here it is saying 256, so 256 is added over here, right? Okay, sorry, I did not give the condition for your value which is greater than 255, right? So in that particular case, what we need to do, we again need to provide certain more AND conditions over here, right? So again, but it's again the same logic, substring underscore index. Okay, and here I will go ahead, let me copy this, it's just going to be this only. Okay, this substring underscore index value over here, that is the first index, if it is less than equal to 255, right, and again it will be substring underscore index. Okay, and it is going to be if IP, this one, this entire, for the second one, sorry, my bad, let me copy this, yes, and let me paste it here. This is going to be 1, and this again is going to be 2, and this again is going to be, sorry, this is 4, this is 3, and this is 2, my bad, and this. Okay, and this is going to be less than equal to 255, this is also going to be less than equal to 255, and this is also going to be less than equal to 255. Okay, Now this is not now what we have to do, go ahead and do, we now also need to go ahead and cast it. And the reason why we have to go ahead and cast it, because if this is just, if we are not going to cast it, right, then it will not go ahead and understand that we are comparing it with an integer value, right? 255, want it to be integer, right? It has to be greater than 255. So 255 is actually a value in this case, unlike the second and the third case, right, where we were dealing with characters. This 255 has to be a value. Okay, so in that particular case we need to cast it into an integer value, right? So I will be using the cast is the same as the typecast, right? Typecasting concept. So we are just casting it as, and I will just say unsigned. Okay, and everywhere I will be just going ahead and doing this as unsigned. Okay, because you see this will fail at a particular number of test cases. Okay, where let's say if we have 9 and if we want to compare 9 with, let's say, 16, then definitely 16 is 9 with 256, let's say, right? So 9 is definitely going to be is definitely less than 255, right? 9 with 255, right? But if we are not going to go ahead and convert this into an integer value, then this will fail, because 9 as a string value will be greater than your 255, because 2 comes first and then comes 9. Okay, so this will fail in that particular case. So unsigned, I need to typecast this, and I again need to typecast this one as well. Okay, this one as unsigned. Okay, so this is done, and then these conditions are also done. And if this is this, then I guess we have got the logs. Now if I run this, then I think this should give us the proper values. Yes, so if it is 256, it's invalid, so it will give us as 1. This is also invalid, 1. This is also invalid because there are only 3, so 1. This is also invalid, and this is also invalid, and the valid ones, it's giving as 0. So this is perfect. Okay, now I'm going to store this into a temporary table. So I will say with temp as over here. Okay, and here what I will do, I will also again go ahead and give, and I'm also going to create one more temp table, temp2 as. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and select the IP addresses from the temp, where now I only need the IP addresses which are invalid, so rn equals to 1. So here I have got all the IP addresses where which are invalid. Now I need to group them and I need to find out the count. Okay, so I will just simply say select the IP comma count of the IP from temp2 group by the IP addresses, and also I have to go ahead and order it by this by the invalid count and IP address in descending order. So I will say order by invalid underscore count, and over here I also want to go ahead and I have to typecast this in order for this to work. So invalid underscore count this would be, and I have to go ahead and order this by descending order. Then IP address also has to be go ahead and order it by descending order as well. So now if I go ahead and if I run this, this should work, hopefully. Okay, this is accepted, this has worked. Let us submit. Okay, runtime is 36.8%, it beats 298 milliseconds. Let us submit it one more time. Okay, let us submit it one. This actually depends upon the system, okay, but the code is actually efficient and it runs fine. Now you can just see 74.55. So this is a pretty efficient solution, okay. And the only key concept for here, okay, to understand was the substring underscore index, the substring, and this was the most crucial part to understand how we are going to go ahead and calculate the dots, okay. And this regular expression over here is for us to go ahead and eliminate these kind of test cases. ABC dot, if there are any kind of IP addresses which involves text format, right, then this is definitely going to be our initial case. If we remove this, right, if we just remove this condition, right, then it will also go ahead and pick up these kind of IP addresses which involves text, which is not correct. This is also an invalid IP address, okay. But if you involve this regex expression and then use it along with these conditions that are mentioned over here, right, then definitely you will go ahead and get the answer. For the sake of this question, right, even if you just don't provide the regular expression, this will work. But in real life scenario, right, in real life case, if we really want to go ahead and want to figure out the invalid IP addresses, then definitely we have to include this because we need to eliminate these cases, okay. So I hope you really enjoyed this particular session. If you did, then please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, and please don't forget to press the bell icon for notification. Thank you very much.